Deep within a bleak and dismal swamp, hidden beneath its murky waters, lies the headquarters of the most sinister villains of all time.
The High Lords of the YouTube algorithm. Hey, High Lord of YouTube, can I talk to you for a second?
Oh, no, I'm not the High Lord of YouTube. I'm Scott from NerdSync.
It's about the Bane video.
Yeah, so like what, 20 levels of Barbarian? Shouldn't be hard.
Yeah, I was gonna make him a bard though.
Oh. You're fired.
You can't fire me, that's not how YouTube works.
He is a giant monster man with huge muscles, and you want to make him the same class as Scott Pilgrim?
I think you mean the same class as Gandalf.
What is wrong with you?
A lot of things.
Just make him a barbarian or you're fired. The High Council of whatever you called me, I've decided. Make him Bane's a barbarian.
Welcome to Building Character, where we're here to make money and sell out and stuff. Maybe. Today we're building Bane. He's a human barbarian. The unarmed fighting style for your feet. You get raged, punch harder. Unarmored defense so you don't have to wear pants. Reckless attack lets you attack with advantage. Danger sense lets you get advantage on dexterity saves. Choose Berserker, you get to Frenzy to attack as a bonus action while you're raging. Put all your ability scores into Strength and Constitution. Extra attack at level 5 to attack twice. Fast movement makes you faster. Behind this rage means you can't be charmed or frightened while you're raging. And you get Feral Instinct to get advantage on initiative rolls. Brutal Critical at level 9, you get that 3 more times. Intimidating Presence at level 10 to make people scared. Retribution lets you attack people who attack you. Primal Champion gives you more strength and constitution. We did it, gamers. We built... Is he gone? Okay, let's do this the right way.
Give me your attention, baby.
First, why in the heckin' heck would you make Bane a bard? Well, the short answer is because he is one. Berserker Barbarian doesn't get any healing factor. The only barbarian with a healing factor is Beast, and if you want Bane to bite people but won't let him be a bard, guess what, champ? You're reflavoring him more than I am. He's also a master of charisma and planning. If you want to do pure barbarian, you're gonna miss out on all the role playing and end up with Bane from Batman and Robin. Is that the Bane you want? I hope not. I want Nightfall. I want to snap the bats back. I want to make Gotham destroy itself. Gladiator and Entertainer are the same background. Wrestling is just as much performance as it is combat. So, let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need Venom, the ability to get big and smash stuff, but we also need a pretty steep penalty for using it. Next, we need a healing factor with our wounds closing up so we can keep on battling bats. Finally, we'll get some explosive ordnance. Just because you can break things with your massive muscles, that doesn't mean we need to. Bombs are effective. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just keep your multi-classing minimums in mind. I know I said bard, I meant bard, and some change. Strength is still number 1, come on, have you seen those muscles? Guy doesn't skip leg day or any other day. He puts days on days and racks on racks, or he uses steroids. Constitution next. When your muscles are thick, it doesn't actually matter how thick your skin is, though I'd imagine it's pretty thick. Charisma after that, bards needed, but you also need it to start a fire! The fire rises! I was gonna try and do a Bane voice for the whole video, but I imagine it would get pretty garbled and annoying pretty quickly. Follow that up with intelligence. For a guy who was born and raised inside a prison, you're actually pretty smart. Dexterity is a bit low. Mass tends to cut down on flexibility and will dump wisdom. You've gotta have impulse control issues when your superpower is caused by putting something called Venom into your blood. Bane is just your average, everyday, normal guy who was born to fulfill his father's life sentence in prison and never given a real name. Backstory like that makes you pretty tough. So grab the tough feat for plus 2 HP every level you get. Part of beating the bat is just outlasting him. He's using rogue and monk hit die. You're gonna be fine. Bump your strength and charisma with your 2 free points. Take history for your skill of choice and the soldier background for athletics and intimidation, though swap the feature with the one from criminal. You're not really stealthy, more of an I'm here, what are you gonna do about it sort of guy. We'll kick things off as a fighter. Sorry, I know I said this was Bard Bane, and it will be, mostly. But we're here for skills like perception and acrobatics. Even if your wisdom and dexterity aren't great, they kind of should be. Bane is a Mary Sue. I don't like him anymore. Grab unarmed fighting for your fighting style, letting you deal 1d6 plus your strength modifier and bludgeoning damage with your unarmed attacks, 1d8 with 2 free hands, and 1d8 to a creature you have grappled once per round. Remember, an unarmed attack doesn't have to be with your hands. If you've got 2 free hands, maybe that's because you were dropping Batman on your freaking knee. You also get second wind here for our first healing factor, letting you recover 1d10 plus your fighter level as a bonus action once per short rest. It's not all we're getting, but it should help you go one more round for now. This is when we're going to jump to Bard. That didn't take very long at all. You get an extra skill like Investigation to track people down, Bardic Inspiration to inspire your mercenaries with d6s they can add to an ability check, saving throw, or attack roll. It isn't weakness to rely on other people, it's strength of reason. For your spells and cantrips, Thunderclap forces a Constitution saving throw on creatures within 5 feet of you, dealing a d6 of thunder damage to those that fail for a little ground pound. True Strike lets you remind your audience that I literally built the Berserker Barbarian version of this at the beginning of the video and explain why I don't think it's good, so maybe just finish a video before you leave your big brain comment. Also, find a hobby that isn't being smarter than people in comment sections. If you were nicer, maybe you'd be able to talk to people in non-public forums. It's a bad cantrip. For your first level spells, Bane gives up to 3 creatures a d4 penalty on their attack rolls and ability checks after they fail a charisma saving throw. Bane is the name of the spell. I wasn't just saying Bane does that. Anyway, you went to Gotham because it's a city ruled by fear like your prison. You're the Batman of prison, put the fear of God into your enemies, they'll fight worse. Cure Wounds heals 1d8 plus your charisma modifier to a creature you touch, and you can touch yourself. Maybe that's why your arms are so big, or at least why one of them is. Thunderwave is a bigger thunderclap, forcing a Constitution saving throw on creatures in a 15-foot cube in front of you, dealing 2d8 thunder damage to those that fail, and pushing them back 10 feet, half damage and no pushing if they succeed. When Bane listens to the cha-cha slide, people die. Earth Tremor lets you break the ground, forcing a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 10-foot radius, dealing 1d6 bludgeoning damage and knocking them prone if they fail, then turning that area into difficult terrain. This is 2 stomps this time. Part of the cha-cha slide, still gonna kill people. Second level bards get Jack of all trades, letting you add half your proficiency bonus to all skills you're not proficient with. For you, it's more like Jacked of all trades. You also get Song of Rest, letting your allies heal an extra d6 on short rests. Keep in mind, it's not a whole day off. You're not allowed to take days off with muscles like that. For this level spell, Longstrider is simple but effective, increasing a creature's movement speed by 10 feet for an hour. You've got long legs, you should be pretty good at running. Third level bards get Expertise, letting you choose 2 skills to double your proficiency bonus with, like Athletics and Perception. Fun fact, that means that you have a higher athletics check than a barbarian. So, you wanna apologize for that mean comment yet? No? Because barbarians have advantage with rage, right? So it's a good thing. You get a second level spell here like Enlarge Reduce to double a creature's size and give them advantage on strength checks and saves. You also increase their weapon damage by a d4, but you need a weapon for that. Not totally out of character, Bane can actually hold his own in a fencing duel with Ra's al Ghul. God, such a Mary Sue. I hate characters that are good at everything, regardless of their gender, right fam? You can also reduce to give creatures the opposite effect, but it's not really in character, and they can make a wisdom saving throw to resist getting tiny. It's not really a thing, but it would be funny if you made Batmite. You can also choose a college, and the School of Hard Knocks is Valor Bard. That'll give you combat inspiration so your allies can add inspiration die to their damage or to their AC when they're attacked. The fire rises! I don't know if this even goes through the mic right. I hope it does. Fourth level bards get an ability score improvement. Bump your strength up. Smashing people is still your best method of doing damage, or at least the most in character method, even if we're not fully venomed up yet. For this level spell, Knock breaks a lock and makes a giant explosion sound. Again, you're not really subtle. If you're stealing something, you don't really care if someone catches you. You'll just catch them by the throat and squeeze until they stop moving. Fifth level bards get Font of Inspiration, letting you recover your inspiration die on short rests instead of long rests, and it bumps up to a d8 instead of a d6 for even stronger soldiers. For this level spell, Tongues lets you speak and understand all languages. It would probably be more accurate to grab the Linguist feat, but we just don't have the ability scores for something that's situational. However, Bane definitely knows his languages. Added to the list of things Barbarian Bane would not get. 6th level Valor Bards get extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks instead of 1 with your action. Probably the biggest downside of baning this way is how long it takes to get your second attack. Not a big deal though, you can still do plenty on the way here. Patience is a virtue. You also get Counter Charm to give your allies advantage on saves against being charmed or frightened with your action. Batman tends to use fear, and normally I don't think this is all that useful, but if you've got a squad of 5 hench people fighting the Bat, they might actually be better at fighting him as a group than you would be by yourself. Or, here's an idea, them first, then you. For this level spell, Glyph of Warding lets you plant a bomb, putting a secret glyph on something that activates when something you determine happens. Explosive Rune is the standard option, forcing a dexterity saving throw on creatures in a 20-foot radius, dealing 5d8 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage to creatures that fail, half as much to those that succeed. You can also store a spell of 3rd level or lower in it, and we'll get something specifically for a planted bomb later, or just say that the glyph explodes after you've cleared the distance for some C4. 7th level bards get 4th level spells. Freedom of movement makes you impossible to slow down. You can't be paralyzed or restrained, you can ignore difficult terrain, and you can break out of non-magical shackles with 5 feet of movement speed. I'd imagine that's useful growing up in a prison. Your origin story is casting freedom of movement. 8th level bards get another ability score improvement, letting you cap off your strength score to get a plus 13 athletics check at this point. After Primal Champion at level 20, guess what a barbarian's max athletics check is? Here's a hint, it's the number of ghosts that Matthew Lillard stops with Tony Shalhoub. For this level spell, Shatter from the 2nd level, Jesus, that's an obscure reference. For this level spell, Shatter from the 2nd level forces a Constitution saving throw on creatures in a 10-foot radius, dealing 3d8 thunder damage to those that fail. Inorganics and creatures made out of inorganic material have disadvantage on the saving throw, so it's great at blowing up walls, or Clayface. I don't know why you'd want to kill Clayface, I bet he'd love to work with you. 9th level bards get 5th level spells. Skill Empowerment lets you give a creature expertise in a skill it's already proficient with. Use it on yourself to be even better at everything, or when you send a soldier to do something for a better form of delegation. 10th level bard is big, but so is Bane, so that's fine. You get expertise in 2 more skills. Investigation and Intimidation are going to be my picks this time. Big scary, but also big brainy. The best part of this level is Magical Secrets, letting you grab 2 skills from any list. Haste will be some extra Venom, adding 2 to your AC, doubling your movement speed, giving you advantage on dexterity saving throws, and an extra action to dash, disengage, hide, use an object, or attack. That's 3 attacks per round, the same as Berserker Barbarian. Wow! And there's a penalty, which is an important part of Venom, since when it ends, you have to take a round off of actions and reactions. It took us a second to get here, but Bane kills Batman? That's high level stuff. I'm sorry, he's got to be a pretty high level character to get the most Bane stuff. Fireball creates an explosion in a 20-foot radius sphere, dealing 8d6 fire damage to those that fail, and since it's a 3rd level spell, you can store it in Glyph of Warding for a massive bomb, or just fire it right away for a missile. You also get to bump your Bardic Inspiration die to a D10 here. It's one of my favorite levels for any class in the whole game, Bard 10. Great time. 11th level bards can learn 6th level spells, but we're actually going to dip back to the 2nd level for Dark Vision, giving a creature Dark Vision for 8 hours. You didn't adapt to the darkness, you were molded by it. You didn't see the light until you were already a man, and then you were like, oi, what's this big bright, isn't it? That turned into Cockney. It's kind of what I do as a DM. Anytime I try any voice, it just sort of goes to Cockney. 12th level bards get another ability score improvement. Start working that Constitution score for more HP. 13 at this level since HP scales retroactively. It'll also help with concentration and Constitution saving throws, which will get really important in a second here. Not at the 13th level, but we do get a 7th level spell like Regeneration, letting you heal a creature for d8 plus 15 instantly and another 1 HP every 6 seconds for the next hour. That's just a little healing factor that's always up and doesn't require concentration, which is good because I want to concentrate on something we're getting next level. 14th level bards get full Venom with Magical Secrets to pick up a 6th level spell like Tensor's Transformation. That'll give you 50 extra HP, advantage on attacks using weapons, an extra 2d12 force damage to all weapon attacks, which includes your unarmed attacks, even though the advantage doesn't, weird quirk of wording in 5e, and a bunch of stuff you already had from Fighter. Lasts for 10 minutes depending on your concentration, and you can't cast spells while it's going, so that means no thunder waves while you're massive, but you will be massive. When it ends, there's a penalty, forcing you to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or take a level of exhaustion. Hopefully you can make it with your proficiency bonus, otherwise you could suffer from Venom addiction. Should help though. Hunter's Mark is a solid 1st level spell backup to make sure that you can always dish out the hurt even when you don't have your Venom, letting you pick a creature to absolutely wreck, dealing an extra d6 of damage to with your weapon attacks, and you have advantage on tracking them for an hour. Batman likes to hide, you like to seek, then destroy. Things get a little messy here at the end, but science is always messy, especially when that science is turning men into monsters. First, we're gonna go Warlock, specifically Hexblade. Also seems like a weird choice, I get that. Bane's power is not all his own, he needs the Venom. Being a Hexblade gives you Hexblade's Curse, letting you pick a creature to absolutely break for a minute. You can add your proficiency bonus to the damage of your attacks against that target you critically hit with a 19 or a 20, and you can heal your Warlock level plus your Charisma modifier when you break them over your knee. You also get spells and cantrips. Blade Ward lets you give yourself resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage if you want to put your guard up. Friends gives you advantage on Charisma checks with the creature, though when it ends, they'll realize you used magic on them, or that you manipulated them with your cunning. For your 1st level spells, Hexblades learn Shield, letting you add 5 to your AC as a reaction. Your AC is a little bit low for my taste, though you can actually throw heavy armor on, it's just not really an in-character move. Expeditious Retreat lets you dash as a bonus action for up to 10 minutes, depending on your concentration. It's not what I'd use concentration for, but if you're down to only 1st level spots, yeah, maybe run away. Multiclassing Warlock with another spellcaster isn't too scary, you just get a few extra 1st level slots, at least you do, because we're only taking this one level. Now, back to fighter level 2 for action surge, letting you make 2 actions in 1 turn once per short rest. Hexblade's curse damage applies to every single attack, so if you use this with tensors up, in 1 round you can deal 4d8 plus 40 bludgeoning damage, plus 8d12 force damage, which is around at 98 with average rolls. But that assumes you don't get a critical hit with a doubled chance to critical hit, and that goes up to 4 more damage with your proficiency bonus that increases next level. We'll compare it to Berserker at the end, but spoilers, there's a reason I did it this way, and it's because this one does more damage. Third level fighters can choose a martial archetype. Rune Knights can get big with giant might, making you a size larger, giving you advantage on strength checks and saves, and you can add an extra d8 of damage to 1 attack per round for a minute. You've also got an amount of venom equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest. And you can pair it with Enlarge Reduce for a huge size Arkham Bane. The dude is genuinely huge in that game. You also get 2 runes. The Frost rune lets you add 2 to your constitution and strength checks for a minute per short rest, and gives you advantage on animal handling and intimidation checks all the time, helping you get bigger and scarier, and also get a dog. The Stone rune gives you advantage on insight checks and 120 feet of dark vision, which is actually better than standard dark vision, so your dark vision will be better than Batman's something born in the darkness. You can also force a wisdom saving throw on a creature as a reaction, charming them and incapacitating them for a minute if they fail. It's not super in character, but maybe you got some knockout gas, you know? 4th level fighters get an ability score improvement, push the constitution higher. It's a shame we can't cap it off, but you're still going to be pretty bulky, especially when you get 50 extra temporary HP when you use Tensor's transformation. Our capstone is the 15th level of Bard for spells like Glibness, letting you set your minimum charisma check to 15, then add your modifier, so your minimum intimidation check would be 29. For an hour. Yikes, that's really good. I mostly wanted this since we couldn't invest in our charisma as much, but you could also use this spell slot for another use of Tensor's transformation. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how this compares to Berserker Barbarian, which can do more damage. Well, the 20th level Berserker Barbarian critically hits with every punch. That's gonna be 15d8 plus 33 bludgeoning damage, which is 93 with median rolls. That's nice. With Bardy Bane, or Bardy B as we're gonna shorten it to, you could use Action Surge, Tensor's Transformation, Giant Smite, and Hexblade's Curse all at the same time to deal 5d8 plus 44 bludgeoning damage plus 8d12 force damage in a single round. With median rolls, that's 112, no critical hits. I gave the Barbarian 3 critical hits to show just how much better Bardy B is. Of course, that's only the Action Surge round. Regular round would be 3d8 plus 22 bludgeoning and 4d12 force damage, or a median of 58. Though if Bardy B is getting the same auto crit we're giving Berserker, that's an extra 3d8 and 4d12 force damage, or 94 with median rolls, literally 1 more damage than Berserker. Damage is better, at least for the first 10 minutes of combat. Obviously, the Berserker has more HP though, with 325 from the Tough Feat and Primal Champions plus 7 Constitution modifier. Bardy B is rocking a sad 228 with the Tough Feat and plus 4 Constitution modifier. Although you do have 3 uses of Tensor's Transformation per day for 50 temporary HP each time, which would be, 378 HP if all you're doing is fighting, and you've got 41 d8 plus 30 Cure Wounds healing and 1d10 plus 4 from Second Wind. Sure, Berserker Bane gets to resist bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, but at level 20, nobody is going to be using only physical damage, except, Berserker Bane. Okay, but Berserker Bane has to be better at lifting, right? He has a plus 13 athletics check with advantage thanks to rage and a minimum of 24 to the checks. What does Bardy B have? Plus 17 with advantage from Giant Smite or Enlarge, not to mention each of those doubling your carrying capacity. So sure, you can't go below 24 with Berserker, but Bardy B hits 24 on a 7 or higher on a d20 with advantage. And the higher rolls, they're even higher. That's not to say Berserker Barbarian is worse at everything. With unlimited rages, there's no penalty for using your Venom, which also isn't in character. In all seriousness though, Berserker Barbarian does have better unarmored defense. That is the in-character thing Berserker Barbarian does better than Bardy B. But for in-character things, Bardy B has damage, health, regeneration, and literally any skill that isn't lifting. And bombs. So if you want to play the Bane from the movie Batman and Robin, Berserker Barbarian is there for you. If you want to play Nightfall, infiltrating Gotham, outwitting Batman and fully breaking him, that's Bardy B. Now if you'll excuse me, I think I need to get out of here before the High Lord of YouTube drops me on his knee. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Special thanks to our guest, Scott from NerdSync. Go check out his channel. He talks about comic books. And this video is about comic books. You probably want to listen to that. He's very funny and very fun.